Hello. I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to visit the island of Iona off the west coast of Scotland. It's home to the Iona community who are based around the Abbey grounds and the immediate vicinity. The worship there is beautiful. Each time I visit, I love to soak up the atmosphere of being in that space. I feel safe, content. It feels like a homecoming. There's something else I have to do each time I visit, and that is to visit North Beach. And that's a picture of North Beach on the wall behind me. If you're on the Abbey side of the island, you have magnificent views looking across the Sound of Iona to the mainland of Mull and Benmore, and the extraordinary basalt cliffs on the west coast of Mull. But the view the other way, when you get to North Beach, is even more extraordinary. To the north and to the west, looking out on a clear day to the islands of the Inner Hebrides. You can see the north end of Mull and Staffa, and for me it feels a bit like a foretaste of heaven. It takes your breath away with its beauty and unspoiltness. This is the cover photo of a beautifully written book by Tom Gordon entitled New Journeys Now Begin. That inscription reads, "No bikes beyond this point," and you can see that some bikes have been left leaning against the fence in happy compliance with this legislation. The view from North Beach of the Inner Hebrides is very fine indeed, but you'll never see it unless you leave the bike behind. For each of us, there will come a point when we have to relinquish the bike to go on the next stage of the journey. Getting off the bike can be painful because we get used to cycling everywhere. The more in life we can put the bike down and enjoy the view, the better prepared we will each be for that moment in life where we'll each have to say goodbye to the bike, as it were. This is a metaphor for resurrection. Our son Mark and I are cycling a lot at the moment, and we're fairly uncomplicated in our preferences. We tend to go on the same route each time, up to the top of the Chevin to Surprise View, and we sit on a bench, we enjoy the view for 5 minutes, and then we come home. It takes us 25 minutes to get there and about 15 minutes to get back. One day we did the return journey in 13 minutes door to door when the roads were quiet. Sadly, with restrictions easing, the traffic is nearly back to normal levels already. When I worked at Wheatfield Hospice, I would cycle to work, and most of the journey to work was downhill. I was faster than the buses, joyfully overtaking them at 30 miles an hour on Stonegate Road. I was conscious of my need to slow down when I arrived at the hospice. If you imagine that a span of a human life can be represented by the span of a forearm from the elbow to the tip of the middle finger, and in pastoral care of the dying, we're coming alongside people, our span of life, as it were, alongside someone else's. This is my Usain Bolt impression, so that we're coming alongside people. And there's overlap, as it were. To make the transition to be authentically alongside people who are dying, I need to adjust to a different pace to get off that bike, as it were. In any Christian model of spiritual preparation for dying, you can't leave out the letting go aspect, the importance of laying down burdens and of travelling light, so that when the time comes to die, all that you have to do is die, as the missionary Jim Elliot put it. The more that we can practice handing over our lives to God, even the possibility of a daily practicing of such a handover, however we may choose to do it, the better prepared we will be. Into your hands, O Lord, I commend my spirit. These are words that any observant Jew will say each day before going to sleep. That's Psalm 31 and verse 5. Each morning we awaken to the light. Each night we surrender to the dark. Awakening and surrender, they frame each day and each life. I'd like to read a little extract from Tom Gordon's book, New Journeys Now Begin. Tom Gordon is chaplain at the Marie Curie Centre in Edinburgh, and as you can see, I borrowed the metaphor of getting off the bike from him. Tom quotes a song, Journeys, by the singer-songwriter Eric Bogle. Without joy, there's no grief. Without hope, there's no belief. Without love, death's just a thief who steals nothing more than time. Eric Bogle sings about what we all know, that to love and to be loved means that we'll experience the pain of loss. We will know grief because we know what love means. We understand bereavement because we've given ourselves in love and have known selfless love in return. Loss and grief are a given, as are love and joy. They walk hand in hand, one can speak to the other. We're still in the period of time when COVID deaths account for nearly a third of all population deaths in the UK. Devoting a little space to reflect on our own mortality each week, or even each day, will certainly make us more open to the possibility of having a good death when the time comes. Without joy there is no grief. Without hope there is no belief. Without love, death's just a thief, who steals nothing more than time.